9 things they feel when you simply disappear. Stoicism. Old Stoic wisdom. You only know the value of light when you've sat long enough in the dark. Ancient proverb. Welcome back, brother. Let's talk about what really happens when you disappear. Not just stepping back or going quiet for a moment, but removing your presence so fully, so sharply, that they feel your absence like a ghost haunting every room they enter. This is not about games. It's not manipulation. This is ancient Stoic wisdom in action, the silent withdrawal that speaks louder than 1,000 words ever could. Here's the truth. No one tells you. People get used to your presence. They get comfortable. They assume you'll always be there, answering the call, showing up, fixing what they break. They forget you're a man with a soul, not just a shoulder. And while they were busy taking you for granted, you were pouring out your energy like water into a cup that never got full. But something changes when you stop, when you vanish, when your voice no longer fills the space. That's when the shift happens. That's when they feel it, not in their ears, but in their chest. At first, they won't understand it. They'll just sense a tension, a disruption in the rhythm, like a song that suddenly stops mid-verse. Their ego tells them they still have the upper hand, but the silence starts to echo, and with every passing hour, that silence grows heavier. You were once predictable, always available, but now you're the missing piece that rewrites the entire puzzle. And that's when it starts. The doubt, the fear, the regret. They question everything they once felt confident about. They remember your laughter, your grounding presence, your steady hand. And they don't just miss you, they long for you. Because in your absence, they finally meet the truth. You were never just there. You were home. This isn't about punishing them. This is about reclaiming your worth, realizing you're not someone to be begged for. You're someone to be respected from the beginning. When you vanish, they don't just lose you. They lose access to peace, strength, and emotional safety. That's what shakes them. That's what keeps them up at night. And here's what I want you to remember. The more you stay away, the more powerful your presence becomes. You're no longer the one chasing. You're no longer the one explaining. You've become the storm they can't outrun, and the calm they didn't value until it was gone. So if this message hits something deep inside you, don't just nod silently. Step into your strength and leave a comment right now. My silence is my power. Then hit the like button so more strong men like you can find this message, and subscribe for more powerful Stoic truths. Because the day you disappear is the day they finally realize you were never the option. You were always the prize. Let's break this cycle together. Number 1. The sting of rejection. There's a strange silence that cuts deeper than a scream, your disappearance. And make no mistake, when you vanish, the first emotion they feel isn't peace, it's rejection. Not the surface-level type that fades with distraction, but the kind that strikes the ego and echoes in the silence you leave behind. Why? Because they never expected it from you. They were convinced you'd always be there, lingering in the background like a safety net, waiting for them to change, to choose you, to finally wake up. But now, the script has flipped. The one they underestimated is gone, and the one they thought they had wrapped around their finger is no longer orbiting their world. That sting of rejection? It's sharp, it's quiet, it's humiliating. Especially when they realize they didn't just lose a person. They lost someone who once gave them consistent attention, effort, and energy. In the beginning, they might act like it doesn't faze them. They'll post a story, pretend to be busy, maybe even flirt louder. But behind the scenes, their thoughts spiral. Did I push too far? Was I too cold? Why does this silence feel louder than their presence ever did? The answer is simple. Your absence became your loudest message. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." And that's exactly what you did. You didn't beg, explain, or lash out. You simply left. And the rejection they feel? It's not about losing you. It's about losing the version of themselves that had control over your attention. Whether you were chasing someone new or disconnecting from someone old, The feeling is the same. They thought you'd always be within reach, but now the echo of your absence forces them to sit with themselves, and it haunts them. That's the power of walking away with dignity. It's not about punishing them. It's about protecting your peace. And in doing so, you trigger the deepest form of rejection, the realization that they were never as secure as they believed. So here's a question to ask yourself today. Who have I been giving access to that never truly valued me? If this hit home, comment below. My silence is strength. Let the world know you're no longer available for games, confusion, or one-sided effort. This is the Stoic way, calm, unbothered, and powerful in presence, even in absence. Number 2. The emptiness of missing something. After rejection, what comes next is not always visible on the surface. It's subtle, internal, and quietly overwhelming. It's the emptiness of missing something, the ache of your absence. At first, they may act indifferent, trying to convince themselves that they're perfectly fine without you. They may laugh louder, post more, or even pretend to glow without you. But beneath that performance lies a void that only your presence used to fill. When you were there, they mistook your consistency for permanence. You gave your time, your heart, your attention, your emotional stability, and they consumed it like it was endless. But now that you've stepped away, something has shifted. There is now a gaping, undeniable silence where you used to be, a hollow echo that follows them into their thoughts, into their routines, into their quiet moments. This emptiness isn't about the loss of someone to text or spend time with. It's the collapse of a structure they subconsciously built around your emotional presence. They begin to feel the weight of it when life feels less exciting, less meaningful. What was once background noise, your words, your laughter, your support, is now loud in its absence. As time stretches on, every day without a message from you, every night without a call, becomes heavier than the last. They begin noticing the tiny details, the way their mood lifted when they heard from you, how peaceful sleep felt knowing you cared, how solid life seemed with you anchoring it. Your absence doesn't just sting, it lingers, it haunts, especially in old relationships where you were the foundation. You were there when things got tough. You showed up when they didn't even ask. You were the one who kept the connection alive when they barely tried. And now, with you gone, the emptiness becomes unbearable. Even familiar things, a song, a scent, a place you once visited, start to trigger emotional flashbacks. These aren't just memories. They're reminders of what they lost, of what can't be easily replaced. The quote says, "You don't know what you've got until it's gone." And for them, that truth is hitting like a wave. They didn't value you when they had you. Now, they're reaching for memories to fill the space, but memories don't hug you back. They don't speak into the silence. The human mind doesn't cope well with loss. When something essential disappears, the brain fixates. It loops. It replays what once was and desperately seeks something similar to replace it. But the paradox is, the more they try to forget you, the deeper they fall into remembering you. They may go out more, meet new people, start fresh conversations, but underneath all that is comparison. No one quite feels like you. No one triggers the same emotional frequency. And slowly, reality dawns. You weren't just a phase. You were someone who mattered deeply. And while they're tangled in that realization, here's what you're doing. You're not chasing, not checking in, not giving them the satisfaction of knowing you're still emotionally available. You've turned inward. You're reclaiming your focus. You're restoring your sense of worth. You're working out, building, praying, journaling, achieving, whatever your version of self-respect looks like. You're embodying it. And that's what makes your absence even more powerful. You've stepped out of the role they always assumed you'd play. You're no longer the emotional cushion they took for granted. And now they must face their own emotional weight, with no one to soften the fall. You might feel tempted to reach out, to see if they miss you, to confirm the void you left is real. But that's the very trap Stoicism warns against, reacting to fleeting emotions, breaking your inner peace to accommodate someone else's late realization. Don't. Let them sit in it. Let the silence teach them. Let the absence become the lesson. If you step back in too soon, they'll fall back into comfort, not change. Your silence is your strength. Your disappearance is not a punishment, it's a mirror. And if they finally understand what they lost, it's because the mirror reflected back the truth. They had something rare and they let it slip. Affirmation to stay grounded. I am whole without them. Write it. Say it. Let it become your mental armor. You are not a puzzle piece in someone else's life. You are the entire masterpiece of your own. Their emptiness is not your responsibility to heal. Your value was never tied to their acknowledgement of it. And when they inevitably come back, and they will, they'll realize this. You were the one who made life feel fuller. And without you, everything feels incomplete. But now, you hold the pen. You write the terms, because you are no longer an option. You are a choice, a powerful one. If this resonated with you, drop a comment below. I am whole without them. Let others know you've stepped into your power, and never again will you be the one chasing what doesn't see your worth. Number 3. The storm of curiosity. They can't escape. At first, they feel the sting of rejection. Then, they sit with the hollow ache of your absence. But what hits them next is something they never saw coming. A powerful, relentless storm of curiosity. It creeps in quietly, then explodes. They act unfazed on the surface. Smiles, distractions, fake confidence. But beneath it all, their thoughts start spiraling. The silence you've left behind? It's not just a quiet void. It's a psychological mirror. It forces them to question everything. Where did he go? Why did he pull back? Is someone else now in his world where I used to be? It's the kind of curiosity that doesn't fade. It festers. It gnaws at their peace. And the more they try to ignore it, the louder it screams. Because suddenly, you're no longer the man who was available. You're no longer orbiting around their emotional gravity. You've disappeared. Not as an act of revenge, but as a declaration of self-respect. In new relationships, your sudden vanishing becomes an unsolvable riddle. 1 minute you were present, consistent, real. The next you're a ghost. And that disruption of pattern, the breaking of routine, is one of the oldest psychological triggers of obsession. Like the scarcity principle Robert Cialdini described, we are more drawn to what we feel we are losing. You've become that rare object, that question that keeps spinning in their mind. They wonder, did I misjudge him? Was he more valuable than I realized? Did I lose control? And that is where the power flips. You are no longer a man chasing approval. You are the mystery that demands their attention, because in that mystery you trigger FOMO at the deepest level. In past relationships, it's even more intense. They knew your rhythms, your morning routine, your small habits. They knew what time you'd usually text. They took it all for granted. And now, you're invisible. You've vanished into a life they no longer have access to. A life where someone else might now be making you laugh. Where your world is moving on. Without them? That thought, it haunts them. It chases them in the quiet hours. When they reach for their phone and find no new message. When they scroll through social media and see silence. When your name comes up in conversation and they have to pretend it means nothing, while it's eating them alive inside. And they will try to check on you. Quietly. Through friends. Through old photos. Through private stalking. But you've left no breadcrumbs. No clues. You've become disciplined. Detached. And that, your silence, becomes the loudest message of all. You've removed yourself as their emotional supply. That mystery drives them mad. The more they can't find you, the more their mind obsesses. Curiosity becomes obsession. Obsession turns into regret. Regret transforms into realization. They no longer know you, and that terrifies them. What are you doing during all this? You're not reacting. You're not watching them. You're not even concerned. You are living. You are focused. You are building the life you postponed when you gave too much. You're getting stronger, cleaner, sharper. You are not punishing them. You are respecting yourself. And that contrast? It's the ultimate reversal. You become untouchable. You are no longer an open book. You've become a sealed vault. And people always crave what they can't access. Marcus Aurelius once said, The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. And you, my brother, are not trying to get even. You're rising above, with quiet power, with calm discipline, with controlled distance. The curiosity they feel is not an accident. It's the result of your transformation. Call to action. Claim your power. Comment this right now. I am the mystery they can't solve. Say it. Own it. Let it ring in your bones. Because you're no longer here to explain yourself. You're here to evolve. You're no longer seeking validation. You are the test they failed, the lesson they didn't study for. And now they'll be thinking about you long after you've forgotten them. Like this video if this truth hit home. Subscribe for more unshakable Stoic wisdom. And remember, power isn't loud. It's silent. It disappears and leaves the world begging for its return. Number 4. Deep self-reflection. When you truly disappear, not as a tactic, but as a declaration of dignity, something powerful begins to unfold within them. First, they're hit by the storm of confusion, curiosity, and questions. But then, when all their distractions can no longer silence your absence, a deeper process is set in motion: self-reflection. And this isn't the gentle kind. This is the brutal, soul-stirring, mirror-to-the-face kind of reflection that leaves no ego untouched. The moment your presence is removed from their life, their mind becomes a battlefield, and the haunting doesn't come from you. It comes from themselves. They start replaying conversations, overanalyzing your silences, asking questions like, did I take them for granted? Did I push too hard? Why didn't I value what I had while I had it? The silence you left behind becomes deafening. It echoes through their routine, their thoughts, their memories. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." But what they now see, clearly, is that while you were trying to be that good person, they were wasting time arguing, avoiding, neglecting. Your disappearance becomes the catalyst for their reckoning. For someone new in your life, this reflection is unfamiliar. It catches them off guard. They might have believed they were giving enough, loving enough, showing up enough. But now, in the clarity of your absence, they're forced to confront their lack of effort, their shallow presence, their failure to recognize your value. That emptiness? It's not loneliness, it's regret. And regret is one of the most painful teachers. For those from your past, those you tried to hold on to when you should have walked away sooner, the reflection is even more intense. They remember the nights you tried to talk things through, the way you still cared even when they pulled away. They see now that your persistence wasn't weakness, it was rare loyalty. And they broke it. They let it die. Not because of one grand betrayal, but through 1,000 tiny dismissals. Now, the past replays like a film they can't pause, and the ending hits the same every time. They failed to love you right. This moment of awakening is not your burden to bear. It's theirs. Your job is done. You gave them space to reflect, and that's a gift most people never get. You're no longer trying to fix what they broke. You've stopped explaining your worth. You've chosen silence not as punishment, but as evolution. While they sit with their shame and their sudden clarity, you're not waiting. You're rising. You're becoming. You're walking forward without looking back. Remember what Epictetus taught us. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. You chose strength. You chose forward. And now your discipline is teaching them what your words never could. To every man listening to this, don't confuse compassion with sacrifice. You're allowed to leave. You're allowed to outgrow people who only realized your value when you became a ghost. And if this message speaks to your soul, write this in the comments right now as your shield. I reflect, but I don't regret. Let it anchor you. Let it protect you. Let it remind you that while they're reflecting on what they lost, you're rising into the man you were always meant to be. Number 5. The urge to pursue you. After rejection stings and silence settles in, after the ache of missing you, the storm of curiosity, and the mirror of self-reflection, something deeper awakens in them, an uncontrollable urge to pursue you, not just to reconnect, but to reclaim what they foolishly discarded. And this is the moment where everything shifts. The power dynamic tilts. The one who once seemed distant, dismissive, and detached now becomes the one haunted by longing, scrambling to rebuild the bridge they themselves burned. It begins subtly. Perhaps they double tap an old photo, or a casual message sneaks in, masked in indifference. But don't be fooled. These are not moves from a place of confidence. These are breadcrumbs dropped from a place of emptiness. They're not reaching out because they've grown. They're reaching out because your absence created a void they don't know how to fill. In the beginning, they may have told themselves 1,000 lies, that they never needed you, that your silence was just a phase, that they could easily move on. But now, they find themselves circling back to the very moments they once ignored. They remember your patience, your presence, your consistent effort. They recall the quiet strength with which you carried the connection, how you texted first, how you showed up when it mattered, how you made space for them even when they gave you so little. And now that you're no longer extending that love, they finally see it. They see how much they took for granted. And the urge to pursue you is not based on love alone. It's laced with regret, with the sickening awareness that they let something rare slip away. Especially when it comes to an old relationship, this realization strikes like thunder. They relive the past, not with fond nostalgia, but with piercing remorse. Every ignored message, every dismissed effort, every cold shoulder, they now see it all with clarity. They begin to understand that while they were playing it cool, you were offering something real. And now that your silence has replaced your affection, their pride crumbles. Because the truth is, your absence speaks louder than your presence ever did. You didn't disappear with drama. You vanished with dignity. No begging, no ultimatums, just silence. Firm, final, and powerful. That's what rattles them. That's what shakes them. And suddenly, the one who once kept you in emotional limbo is now the one chasing, doubting, regretting. This is your moment of true control. Not because you're manipulating them, but because you've chosen yourself. You've redirected your energy inward, reclaimed your peace, and most importantly, remembered your worth. As Epictetus once said, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. You no longer want what does not value you. You don't chase anymore because now you attract. And if they wish to return, it will be under new terms, yours. You are no longer the one pleading to be seen. You are the prize that must be earned. That's not ego. That's self-respect. So let them feel the loss. Let them feel the fire. Because sometimes the only way someone learns your value is when your presence becomes a memory. Stand tall, move forward, and when they come knocking, ask yourself, are they ready for the version of me that no longer begs to be chosen? Affirmation for the men walking in their worth. I attract. I don't chase. Type it in the comments if you feel the shift. Let the world see that you've elevated, that you've stepped into your power. You're no longer chasing people who couldn't see your value. You are the value. And now the game has changed. Number 6. The battle between relief and regret. When you disappear without explanation, calm, clean, and complete, you ignite a storm they never saw coming. At first, they breathe a false sigh of relief, convincing themselves they're free, that they finally have space, that your absence was a blessing in disguise. They whisper lies to their own ego. Now I can focus on myself. I don't need the pressure. Maybe it was for the best. But the Stoics taught us that truth is like gravity. It always pulls you back down. And so the illusion of relief begins to crack. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." And that's what your absence becomes, a mirror that forces them to see what they chose to ignore. At first, the regret creeps in like a soft breeze. Maybe I was too harsh. Maybe I didn't see their worth. Maybe I gave up on someone rare. Then those whispers grow louder. They remember the text they never replied to, the look in your eyes when you still cared, the way you were always there, and how they treated you like you'd never leave. Regret multiplies like a virus, quiet, fast, and deadly. For someone new, it's a missed opportunity. For someone from your past, it's a slow unraveling of all the moments they should have fought harder, the dinners you shared, the late-night conversations, the plans you once dreamed up together. And suddenly, what once felt like freedom now tastes like failure. This isn't just heartbreak, it's the psychological war between their ego and their soul. The ego shouts, "You're fine without them." The soul whispers, "You were a fool to let them go." And in the end, regret always wins. Because the moment you left, the moment you stopped checking their stories, stopped liking their posts, stopped sending energy their way, you reclaimed your power. You shifted the dynamic. You stopped being an option and became a memory too sharp to forget. While they wrestle with could-haves and should-haves, you're rising in silence, grounded, calm, unshakable. You're not chasing closure, you are the closure. And here's the brutal truth they're finally starting to accept. They didn't lose someone who needed them. They lost someone who chose them, and there is no deeper regret than that. So if you're hearing this, take a moment and write this in the comments below. I am more than enough. Let it be a daily reminder that you are not something people get over. You are the one they silently mourn in rooms full of people. Like this video, subscribe for more commanding Stoic wisdom, and share your voice in the comments. Because their regret, that's their punishment. Your rise, that's your reward. Number 7. The desire to play the game. When you vanish without a word, something strange begins to stir in the ones you left behind. Not remorse, not love, but something far more calculating. The urge to play the game. This isn't about real connection anymore. It's about regaining control. The silence you've created, it drives them mad. They can't read you, can't predict your next move. That void of uncertainty eats away at their ego. And when someone's ego is bruised, their instinct is not to reflect, it's to manipulate. They retreat into strategy, hoping to bait a reaction. So they become distant, cold, and calculated. They mirror your absence, thinking, if I act like I don't care, maybe they'll come crawling back. That's not confidence, it's fear in disguise. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." And in this case, the best response to manipulation is indifference rooted in self-respect. They start broadcasting their happiness online. Carefully staged photos, vague quotes, public flirtations, all designed to spark jealousy, to reignite your attention. But beneath the surface, they're checking who viewed their stories, rereading your last message, clinging to every trace of you. That's not strength. That's insecurity wearing a mask. In a new connection, they play it cool, trying to test your silence, hoping it's just a bluff. But when you don't break, when you don't flinch, they begin to unravel. In a past relationship, the game gets crueler. Sweet messages one day, total silence the next. It's an emotional tug-of-war designed to confuse you, to see if you'll chase what once hurt you. But here's where your growth turns the tide. You're no longer emotionally available for breadcrumbs. You've learned that real peace doesn't come from mixed signals. It comes from clarity and walking away with your dignity intact. They lost the moment you stopped reacting, because while they're busy planning their next move, you're too focused on building a better life. While they're pretending they're over you, you've genuinely evolved. As Epictetus said, no man is free who is not master of himself, and in your silence, in your discipline, you've mastered yourself. You've stepped out of the chaos and into calm. You no longer seek validation. You embody value. You no longer play games. You've outgrown them. So let this be your grounded affirmation. I no longer play games. If that speaks to your soul, drop it in the comments like a hammer. Let the manipulators know you're not bait. You're not a pawn. You're the man who knows his worth. You've already won by walking away from the circus and choosing peace over performance. Number 8. The crushing weight of silence. After all the games, all the testing, the pushing and pulling, what they never expected was the one force that could truly break them. Absolute silence. Not just a pause, not just time apart, but a cold, consistent, and final silence. At first they smirked, convinced they could outlast your absence. They thought you'd fold. They counted on your weakness, on your longing. They thought you needed the last word. But with each passing day, that silence, once thought to be temporary, becomes thunder in their ears. He who does not speak is feared, as Confucius once hinted, because when you stop talking, when you stop showing up, when your presence evaporates into stillness, that's when the storm begins, not outside, but inside their own minds. There is no more lifeline, no more bait to nibble on, no hint that you're still emotionally tethered. You've severed the cord, and in that empty space, they are forced to confront themselves. Each day without your message, each unanswered call, each social post you don't make, it all becomes a glaring echo of your disappearance, a mirror with no filter. What stares back at them isn't just your absence, it's their own emotional bankruptcy. In modern life, we're addicted to noise, notifications, conversations, arguments. But the man who learns to weaponize silence, who walks away and actually means it, becomes untouchable. That silence begins to haunt them, not because you've vanished, but because your disappearance now says more than your words ever could. And here's what's most devastating. They start to realize you're not pretending. You're not baiting. You're not somewhere waiting in the wings for a chance to return. You are done, truly, and that terrifies them. The comfort they took in your consistency is now a curse. They remember how steady you were, how present. Even in conflict, your voice was part of their daily rhythm. Now, there's nothing. No warmth, no fights, no closure, only space. And in that space, they hear the truth. They've lost something they thought would always be there. That silence becomes unbearable, not because of what it lacks, but because of what it confirms. You're not available anymore. You're not theirs anymore. And the man who once checked in, who gave without hesitation, who offered love, support, attention, has vanished into stillness. No chase, no announcement, just presence withdrawn. And that, my friend, is the ultimate Stoic move. As Marcus Aurelius said, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Your silence is not punishment, it's power. It's your boundary. It's the declaration that you've finally chosen you. Drop this in the comments if you feel it in your soul. My silence speaks volumes. Let them battle their own storm. Let them wrestle their regret. You remain grounded, calm, unshaken. Because you're not missing. You've simply made yourself unavailable to anything that no longer serves your peace. Number 9. The fear that brings them crawling back. After the silence, after the void you left in their world, comes something no ego is truly prepared for. Fear, the primal, paralyzing kind that creeps into their mind in the quiet moments and whispers. You've lost him for good. This isn't just fear of absence, it's the terror of finality, the realization that your silence wasn't a game, it was evolution. They thought they had time. They believed your loyalty was endless. But now you're gone, and that truth hits them like a storm. The thought of you smiling with someone new, building a life where they're not even a shadow, it unravels them. They feel it in their chest, in their gut, in the sleepless nights where your memory becomes louder than their pride. And so, they crawl back. Not with confidence, not with arrogance, but with desperation, because the illusion that you'd always be there has shattered. They start liking your posts, sending messages, asking mutual friends, even showing up where they shouldn't, hoping to undo what feels irreversible. But here's the truth you must never forget. It's no longer about them, it's about you. You've outgrown their games, their indecision, their half-love. You've transformed in your silence. You've tapped into that old Stoic truth that Marcus Aurelius once said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." You didn't disappear to manipulate, you disappeared to elevate. And in doing so, you've become untouchable. You're not the man hoping for validation anymore. You're the one who holds the power. You're the standard now. And when they return, and they always return, it's not your responsibility to fix what they broke. Their fear is not your burden. Their regret is not your story. Let them feel it. Let them sit in the consequence of taking you for granted. And let this serve as your reminder that true power is found not in chasing, but in choosing. Choosing peace. Choosing growth. Choosing yourself. So if this message resonates with your soul, hit like, subscribe for more Stoic strength, and drop this in the comments right now as your personal seal of strength. I am worth the chase. Say it loud, say it clear, and never again let anyone treat you like an option. You are the prize. You are the mountain they now must climb, and not all will be strong enough to reach the top. Thanks for watching, my friend. If this message struck a chord with you, don't just scroll past, like the video, subscribe for more Stoic wisdom, and comment below. Keep it up to show the world you're done chasing and ready to lead. Remember this, your silence isn't weakness, it's power. When you walk away with purpose, you become unforgettable. You are the prize. Let them feel your absence like a storm they never saw coming. Until next time, stay strong, stay still, and let your presence be a reward, not a guarantee.